I'm Hannah Wallace and welcome to FinextraTV. Kindly calling into our virtual studio today is Valerie Nowak, Executive Vice President, Product and Innovation at Mastercard Europe. So Valerie, welcome. It's good to see you.
Hi, Anna. Thanks. Happy to be with you as well.
Really good to have you on today. And we're discussing behavioural changes in the payments industry and some of the latest emerging technologies. But it wouldn't be right without first reflecting on the past year and the impact of COVID, would it? So let's start there. Would you say that the pandemic triggered significant behavioural changes in the payments industry? And could you tell us a bit about how you responded at Mastercard? Let's start there.
Yes, of course. I think I would be controversial somehow if I wasn't say that the pandemic has had a lot of changes. So definitely it accelerated the digital shift, and restrictions alongside with healthy and safety concerns push really the consumer away from cash or from touching surfaces like payment terminals. And therefore, while consumers have always looked at safe, convenient, and fast way of paying, they're also looking now at a cleaner way to pay, which led contactless and mobile payment to grow in terms of adoptions, value, and in terms of transactions and size. And so just to give you a few data points, we've seen that more than 80% of our Mastercard's face-to-face retail transactions are now on contactless, coming from 65 before pandemic. And one out of 5 of them are now on mobile devices. So pretty massive as a change. When it comes to e-commerce, it's a very similar trend. Of course, people are much more comfortable to buy online. And what we saw closing our first quarter is that the Mastercard e-com volume, excluding T&E, grew at 84% compared to the 2019 level. So pretty massive. And so when looking at those trends, the way we did respond is by being much more proactive and agile. So our strategy hasn't changed, but we wanted to deploy faster our solutions. Think of contactless, right? Last year, in a matter of few weeks, we increased the contactless limits in more than 40 countries. On the e-commerce side as well, as I said, people are much more comfortable buying online, but they are still concerned about security. And they definitely don't want to spend too much time entering the card details, having a password, going through multi-payment pages, right? So the one-click experience is the reference. And Mastercard is offering the click-to-pay solution following the industry standards. And these solutions really enable convenient and safe e-commerce payment experience without the need of a password or entering card credentials. And we have piloted this in the UK this year, and also preparing to launch it and enable it in many countries in Europe.
Right, that's exciting. And you highlighted some significant data points there. That really does show there have been some big changes. But would you say those changes are here to stay?
Definitely, it will stay and stick. And that's what we see, right, in many data points, but also logically, right, when you're looking at some of the people behaviors. They've had about 18 months, right, to really get comfortable with those solutions. So there is no reasons to see and no data points that shows that the people will revert back. What we also see is that we could think of millennials adopting those new payments technologies, but we see that also the baby boomers have used that even more. They've used the click and collect type of options, and they really like to use it. We did a recent survey at Mastercard to try a bit to test those things. And just on the contactless point, 73% confirmed that they're going to continue using contactless even after the pandemic. So yes, definitely it will stick.
All right. And what about the latest emerging technologies such as blockchain, cloud computing, 5G, AI, and so on? Do you think these will further accelerate those behavioural changes? And also, how are you getting ready at Mastercard? Let's touch on that.
Yes, in the continuation, right? It will definitely transform the industry. And I would say sooner than later. I think we often say the future is now. I think it's the case. Think about 5G, right? It's going to speed up data compared to 4G and change dramatically the consumer transaction experience, bringing people closer to their mobile phone when it comes to make a person-to-person payment or retail payment. If you think about Internet of Things as well, right? We know it's there, but it's going to accelerate because we're going to more and more develop small and small devices into any type of interface. And edge computing will help because while traditionally we're looking at the cloud computing and centralizing data, with the edge computing, we're going to bring the data closer to the device, allowing taking more and smart decision. So those interfaces will definitely, in the Internet of Things, shape the way human beings interact within each other and shape definitely even more the consumer behaviors. So if you do combine the 5G faster connectivity with the acceleration of Internet of Things, you know that you're going to have massive data, right? And the one who's going to access this data, the one who's going to derive the right insights of data, will be the one offering the best experience and winning the consumer. And if you think about that, you think about AI and machine learning, right, as well. Then this technology will leverage the data to make sure that at one point in time, the human being will not be able to derive as good as a machine some of the actionable insights. So definitely, individually or combined, those technology will shape the industry, will shape the behaviors of the consumers. And so Mastercard is getting ready, enabling the right infrastructure to respond to the increasing consumer demands as well as the needs from the SMEs, for instance. And we're deploying and developing solutions on mobile to address online and physical commerce. And it can be on cards and it can be on accounts. So that's really how Mastercard is getting ready for that.
Mm-hmm. So watch this space. Some interesting predictions there. All right, so homing in on blockchain then to end, could you elaborate on Mastercard's vision and plans in this space? What can we expect to see?
So yeah, as I said, Mastercard's strategy remains the same, right? I repeat it, it's enabling choice for our consumers to pay whatever the way, right? But in a fast, convenient and safe way. And so beginning of the year, based on a study that Mastercard developed, we realized that the consumer appetite for new emerging payment, flexible and fast experience is still rising. And 93% of the people said that in the next year, they're going to use at least one new emerging payment method, such as cryptocurrency. So it's definitely front and center. And therefore, Mastercard is preparing the future of crypto and payment. The thing is that Mastercard is not new in the digital world, right? We already had our first patent back in 2015 of blockchain payments. And since we have developed probably the largest blockchain patent portfolio with more than 100 patents being delivered, and I think we have close to 300 other pending applications. So that's clear. But as this space is very dynamic, while no decision has been taken yet on the type of cryptocurrency we're going to support, it's very important for us to have strong foundations. And those foundations are based on key principles that we want to follow when following this space that's evolving. And it's about regulation or regulatory compliance. It's about consumer protection and stability, right? Any currency that's backed by fiat currency brings reliability, of course. And so based on this principle, we think that we are going to offer the best and probably the only way to support those cryptocurrencies. And I think looking at that, those principles brings us to mainly CBDC, so central banks, digital currencies and stable coins, where probably they have greater potential from that perspective, thinking of our principle. And we know that 86% now of the world's central banks are already considering and exploring digital currency, and 60% of them are already experimenting it, right? So we're supporting them, we're partnering with them to design and deploy those cryptocurrency. But that's really how we kind of looking at the future. But right now, we're already trying to do things. So for instance, any user who has cryptocurrency, we convert them into fiat currency and allow them to spend everywhere Mastercard is accepted. So we're really trying to develop solutions now preparing for the future, but always keeping in mind that we want to be with the consumers, offering them flexible choices in whatever currency they are looking and they want to use.
Some incredibly exciting developments ahead then that you've highlighted, and it sounds like you're going to be very busy at Mastercard. So Valerie, thank you so much for calling in and sharing your insights. It's been a pleasure speaking with you today.
Thank you, Anna.